Liking the music. Good evening and welcome to Paxton Road TV. This is Talking Points, where we talk all things Tottenham. And today, special breaking news. Even just before we came on, even though we weren't even going to talk about the situation, 72 days in, we have a manager! Hooray! Spurs have finally done it and signed Nuno Espirito Santo.
Is it real? Is it real? Have we finally done the unthinkable? We've done something normal.
We actually have a manager, guys.
We have a manager. This is why we're smiling. We're all smiling because we've got a manager. It's like we were the odd ones out. 19 other Premiership teams had managers, pretty much, and we didn't. No, Crystal Palace, have they got a manager yet?
Vieira.
Vieira, of course.
Yeah, and also Benitez to Everton as well. So everybody's got their managers now.
So everybody's now pretty much sorted. So
and Sancho to Man United.
So, get back to the professionalism. Like, subscribe, share, comment. If you're live watching this now, please hit that like button. It helps us out tremendously. If you're watching this as a recording later on, again, hit that like button for us. And introducing, we have in the house our regulars, Darius3k, Sid Spurs, and Mr. K. And we also welcome, he's changed his name, but he's still the same. It's Tommy Talks Balls.
and he knows his ball as well.
Tommy Talks Balls.
Yeah, we don't talk balls. I'm not sure if we're talking balls on this one. We're not sponsored by Manscaped yet. Not sponsored by Manscaped yet. Not yet.
One person has not introduced me as ball yet. Literally everyone's balls. I'm changing it.
Tommy, it's good to have you on. Anyway, let's put the underlay over. So we were going to talk today transfers, pre-season, and the season ahead in terms of the first few fixtures. But obviously, we have to touch on the manager situation. We've done a number of specials in terms of managers. I think we did one on Conte, we did one on Poch, we did Ten Hag, we did Fonseca, we did everybody. Do you know what I mean? And now, finally, it appears, after the one that we did at the weekend with Nuno, it appears he's holding the shot. Has anybody got that picture? Who's got that picture on their phone? Just to prove to people that we actually do have a manager.
Sorry if you can't see it, guys. Sorry if you can't see it.
There you go.
There
he's holding up a Spurs.
Holding the shirt, live in the flesh.
Look how happy he looks. Look how happy that man looks with that smile.
Looks like he's shaved the beard as well. Shaved the beard. Looks like he's lost a bit of weight. Looks like he's ready. He's ready for it.
He's ready for this. Anyway, right, I'll come to all of you. I'll come to you first, Sid. Again, signed the manager. Let's just have a quick chat about him. I know we had our doubts and everything, but I've always maintained once the manager's signed up, we are going to get behind, or we should get behind him. Sid, what's your thoughts?
Do you know what? We've waited over 70 days, and finally, it has happened. We've got a manager. Forget all the talk. Forget who was linked, who wasn't linked, who we should have got. Is he the right man? He's in. Back him 100% now. We've just got to go with it. We've got a manager. So now, you know what? That's it. This is where it begins now for Tottenham Hotspur. Let's back him. Let's give him our full support.
100% like that. Tommy talks ball, not balls. Tommy talks ball. You're next up. What do you think of the situation? Nuno, now he's signed.
I'm not sure if I'm happy or there's something happening. Like I'm having a panic attack. Like my heart's racing. I don't know. I've never felt like this. It's not been like 72 days without a manager. Like it's crazy. But thank God, it's over and done with. And like Sid says, 100 million%, I'm going to get behind him.
Yeah.
Look, the one positive coming out of it is the Mendes link. If we can get that Mendes link again, and we can get some of the Yotters and Ruben Neves is in, then that's what I'm looking at. And it's not a 5-year contract; it's a 2-year contract. Two-year contract. I'm happy with that. Start a pre-season. Let's get cracking. Let's get the transfers going now. Fabulous.
Mr. K, sponsored by Juicen. What's your thoughts?
Guys,
the green screen.
72 days, huh?
Yeah.
Is that what it was? Is that official?
I think we certainly set a new record for taking our time in choosing a manager. Is it an important position within the team? Well, Ryan Mason did it for a while. He can do it. Anyone can do it, right? But yeah, Nuno, I'm just glad it's over. Honestly, I think everyone else is relieved as well. We're going to get onto the next stuff, the transfers and so forth. But it doesn't distract me from my focus of looking at the club with a little bit more, detailed eye, and not forgetting this track record, not letting it be brushed underneath the carpet. I'm sorry, this isn't the latest of a litany of, the incompetencies which this board, has perpetuated us, the fans, and made us look like pathetic laughing stocks around the world. We're a great club.
Let's get behind him now. I've been negative.
He's the man with the beard. I love his beard. No. His beard is to die for. Trust me. If I had a black beard like that on my days, bro, I would look so. Oh.
Listen, I'm going to buy some. We can start selling them outside the ground.
Honestly, just for his beard. Come on, your beard.
You need to up your beard game, because if you got to match Tommy's beard, then you got a long way to go, because he's beard city. He's beard city. Anyway,
mate, Levy's going to be stocking beards now. You know that Levy's going to be stocking beards in the club shop. You know that's going to be happening now. Free with a season ticket or something.
100%. Darius, what's your thoughts on Nuno?
I can't really say a bad thing. Like you said, it doesn't even feel real at the moment. I can't believe that we've got a manager. I'm going to be honest, he wasn't my first choice. And also after we did our special last week, I was kind of more veering to then I don't really want Nuno. But you know what? After I kind of thought about what he'd done, thought about sort of the approach he takes to how he likes to galvanize his squads, he likes to bring his squads together, he likes to build that sort of ethos around the team. I think that even for 2 years, I think it could be decent. And he's one thing I know that Nuno will do, which is actually going to kind of make me happy, is he's going to make playing against big teams very, very difficult. I think that's what he'll make sure. He'll leave a legacy at Tottenham, being sure that we are going to not let big teams run over us, and we can attack teams as we do that we can, and then the defensive teams, or sorry, should I say, the more attacking teams that we have to play defensive against. I think he'll have a good balance where we can sort of hit that point. And then, like you said, with the signings, if we can make signings, that will be even better.
Well, that's what I was just going to add to that part. If we get certain players in and certain players out. So what we're going to do tonight, as you can see, everybody, we are over the moon of our manager, because he was a better choice than Ryan Mason would have been. And that's what we were looking like going into the season. Oh, my God, Gattuso as well. So that's what we were looking like going into the season with.
Choice.
But no, that wasn't happening. Me and Tommy was on. No, we couldn't have Ryan Mason. There was no chance. But anyway, that's done. Let's set that. We can now move on. So, yes, go on.
Just got some breaking news from apparently somebody seen Matt Doherty leaving his house, doing a Forrest Gump. He's running.
Oh, man.
Let's see how that pans out, because that is very interesting. Yeah. So, the first thing we're going to talk about, we're going to just talk about it briefly. Obviously, we'll probably do more shows. And if you're watching, Sid Says does a transfer special twice a week. I think the next one is going to involve Darius3k, so look forward to that. You'll see him. Transfer guys. Obviously, we've got not a long summer ahead, because it's pre-season starting soon. What do we need? Tommy, what do we need?
Well, we're going to need a hell of a lot of centre-backs now if we're paying 3 at the back. Because, we've got one who's the best of a bad bunch in Toby, and he's 32. And he's getting deeper and deeper and deeper as the years go by. So, it's good that it's nice that we're linked with Tomiyasu. Yeah. But the problem with him is a similar problem to Tanganga. He's a centre-back and a right-back. Sometimes a lack of versatility helps you out. Sometimes too much versatility can go against you. So I hope we find his position. And I think Tanganga could be a magnificent right centre-back if indeed that's what Nuno goes with. But again, just one more player I want to mention. We've been talking about the last 2 days a lot. It's been rumoured, and Kessie. Oh my God! If we get Kessie, I'm in love with that man. I think he's awesome. I mean, he's so chilled as well. If you watch his penalty taking, it's like Pirlo-esque.
Like Pogba, in it. He just walks up to it, doesn't he?
It's incredible. And that's his entire vibe on the football pitch, and he makes things happen. So if we can get Kessie for 30-40 million pounds. He's going into the last year of his contract. Milan are not going to let what happened to him, what happened to Donnarumma and the other chap, Çalhanoğlu, worth 30-40 million pounds each. They're not going to let that happen to Kessie. So if we can make that happen, that would be awesome. And as I said, 4 centre-backs.
So I'd just like to say before we move on, I'm going to come to you next, Darius, but welcome watching Steve Williams, Tans, hi Tans, Grandpa Stevens and Bob Spur. Thank you all for your comments so far. Marlon Bashman in the house as well. Finally, we have someone good option to me. So all the best. And Amric as well. I think his 2014 Valencia side is going to be more indicative of how he sets up with our squad. They scored 70 some odd goals that season and nearly took third over Atletico. Darius, In terms of transfers, what are we looking at initially? What do you think we need?
I honestly think this managerial appointment's probably changed quite a lot in sort of the transfer dealings that we're going to make. I think Takahiro Tomiyasu, I don't know anything about him. I've not heard from him before. I know that he played for Bologna, isn't he? He plays for Bologna at the moment. I think that sort of signing will probably be made at right back now, because I do honestly believe that Doherty will probably be our starting right back next season. And you know what? I'm not against it, because evidence suggests that he will probably go back to some sort of his old form under Nuno. So I think that the right back, I don't think we'll probably be seeing a Max Aarons come in or someone like that. I think that the right back position is probably going to be, I think it'll be Doherty and Aurier, and I think Aurier will probably leave on a free if he doesn't leave this summer. So I think we're going to shift our transfer dealings now more to a centre mid. I believe that we do need centre mid. I think Franck Kessie is a great option. I think imagine him and Højbjerg in the middle, like those two big, giant, commanding centre mids in that midfield. That'll muddy up any midfield, and they also can go forward and attack quite well as well. So I think that's a good sort of player profile to be looking for a centre mid. Not maybe necessarily like a Lo Celso type, but more a dominating general type midfielder to partner Højbjerg. And then I also think that Son will probably be playing up front next season going under. I think that Nuno will play Son as a partnership with Kane, and I think we'll probably.
Think you'll go 3-5-2?
I think I could see that happening. I think it'll be mixed. I think it'll be obviously between 3-4-3 and 3-5-2, but I definitely see Son and Kane working together as the two up front with obviously you got Reguilon and it'll be Doherty on the other side. I think that you could 100% see that happening, because it allows Son to sort of drift. It gives him a free role. It will give Kane a free role if you want him to have more responsibility as well. And also, I just think that those two working together, obviously I'm talking if Kane stays and everything, but those two working together, closer together, I think is much more beneficial. And then you've obviously got Reguilon to cover that space. So I really do think that this managerial appointments changed our transfer dealings. I think we'll probably look to go in spend more money on a centre-back. I don't think the right-back will be as much of a priority anymore. I really don't believe that. So centre-mid, I would say, and then maybe 100%, like Tommy said, is centre-back. I think we need two centre-backs now that we're playing three at the back. So yeah, centre-mid and centre-back is a main priority for me.
Okay. Mr. K, who do you think might need to go as well as come into the team? Into the club, into the squad, whatever you want to call it?
Well, I think to myself is that you got people like, for example, Lamela. They've been a good servant for the club on the medical bay. Whenever they have come on the pitch, they've shown a little bit of intensity, but they're an attacking option. And, you know, the talk is that trying to sell them on for some money would be good. Letting him go to some new pastures would be good for him as well. If that's the case, then we need to replace some sort of attacking intent. And right now, the problem is that we've got Paratici as our general manager, as a director of football. So therefore, his background being from Italy, you're going to get a lot of rumors coming out of the Italian media, mills. There are going to be loads of them, and they're going to be looking at our club, and they're going to be saying, okay, well, what does this club need? And to tell you the truth, it's good that they're doing that, because it just reflects what we already know. And one of those would be attacking intent. So one of the rumors that came out is a young 21-year-old from Fiorentina.
Yeah.
Vlahovic, Dusan Vlahovic.
That's
Vlahovic.
I tell you the truth, a lot of these players that we're going to see, we're going to have to Google up. That's the truth.
Hey, you got me. I'll sort it out for you. Don't worry.
What you've got,
Sid
Sid.
Do a special on this boy, 21-year-old. Have a little
He's
look.
very good. He's very good.
Yeah. I did say that the other day.
The reason why I'm interested in looking at this is because I'm thinking about what is now the next few steps that Levy's going to do. How is he going to support his general manager, director of football, at the same time try to pull himself out of the mire of what he's done for the last 12 months and how his image has been incredibly tarnished. He's got a wonderful stadium, wonderful training facilities. He's now acquired some property which is going to be developed for the ladies' games. We can call it golf and we can have a laugh, but at the end of the day, it's designed for the ladies. So let's not take the mick and actually look at it for what it really is. He's obviously Tottenham has got a lot of tourists coming from around the world as soon as COVID is over, and they're going to need some sort of new futuristic landscape. So Levyland is here, the new Disney attractions. So
Mr. K, let's be positive. Like I said, we can do this negative thing all bloody day. I'm done with it now. I'm going positive. I've been negative. I'm staying on it.
But my point is
we have got to get players in. We've got to get players out.
That's my point.
Give the man a chance. Leave Levy now. He's no longer involved in football decisions, supposedly. Let's move on.
I know, but he's going to look at a striker and look at it for about 50 or 60 million pounds. You're going to think that's a lot of money, right? But if you think about it, 2 years ago, we're buying Dombele, and he was at the time worth about 60 million.
Do you think we're going to spend 50, 60 million on a backup striker? Or are you talking about Kane replacement?
Levy's going to spend 25 million, spread the rest over a thingamajig, and have it down for 45 million. That's what he's
Do
going
you
to
think
do.
Kane's staying is another question? Do you think Nuno's and Paratici are going to be able to convince Kane to stay? Because I actually still don't know.
Kane's staying. Kane's staying.
I think he's staying as well. But I don't know.
The guy who's going is Son. Son is going.
No, Son's staying.
Son's staying. I think Son's staying.
You need some smoke. You need some smoke in the fire. And there's no smoke with Son. There's been no smoke in terms of where he's going to go.
He's staying.
That type of smoke. Okay, I thought you meant something else.
Son ain't going nowhere. I don't know about the Kane thing. And I'll come to you next in the
Guys,
next.
are you real? Come on, listen to yourselves. That's sentiment speaking.
No. I don't believe
he's trapped in a contract.
How
long does it take to renew a contract?
Yeah, but how long does it take to get a manager? So it's the same thing that applies to that. There's lots of stuff going on. Yeah. What I'm saying is, I 100% believe that Son's staying, and I'm not just saying that out of sentiment. I'm just saying from the way that they do, the way that you see certain players act. You know, Son doesn't give that impression that of any kind that he doesn't enjoy being at Spurs. You know, we've looked at certain other players' body language. We've looked at certain players interviewing. We've looked at Harry Kane. We've had the Dele Alli. You know, those sort of players are arm in an arm. I think when you saw, I think it was after, which game was it that we lost? That Son almost looked like he was in tears. No, there was a game where we lost. It was a league game. And the guy is so into it. Now, I'm not saying that means he's going to 100% stay. But if you're going to put a bet on it, I'm going to bet on him staying. And I'm not going to bet against him.
Look, he said very clearly, I don't just want to play in a final. I want to win it. And then when he got to the final, what happened? What was the difference in between? They got rid of Jose. That was the difference.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Levy values Son in a very, very similar way to Kane with the Asian community. The Asian community want him gone after his crying in the Carabao Cup final. They want him gone. They want him to win trophies. He's their go-to man. So I wouldn't be surprised if the value is very similar. And it's not. It's like as Sam just asked, Mr. Kane, in terms of who we're going to sell. It's where the buyers coming from. Where are the buyers coming from?
Anyone's
this is the first summer in a long time where Real Barca have no money.
I disagree. Honestly, I disagree. If you actually look, Tommy, you make a point. If you actually look at Arsenal in January last year, they had to basically give Ozil the rest of the money on his contract to get him gone. And they did the same for Socrates as well. I don't know if it's going to get to that. Well, no, I don't actually believe that Levy would ever do that. I don't think Levy would ever pay off somebody's contract to sort of better our squad. But you are right in what you're saying. I'm struggling to see where certain players are going to be sold for. And knowing Levy and the fact that he's going to want to make as much money as possible, I think he would rather keep those players as opposed to, do you know what I mean? As opposed to trying to sell them for like maybe 5 million, because at the end of the day, he's going to want to try and make as much money back. I guarantee you, we probably could have sold Ben Davies to Napoli and Sissoko to Napoli and these sort of things, but he wants to make as much money as possible. In my opinion, that's not the reason. We should be getting rid of these players to allow space for better players to come in. That's the reason why we're getting rid of these players, not to sort of be harsh or make as much money as possible. At the end of the day, Sissoko's not good enough. He just needs to go. Winks is not good enough. He just needs to go. So that's my stance on it.
Okay, so guys, what do you think then? Do you think Son is asking for more money?
Of course he would. You know,
do you blame him?
Why wouldn't you?
So
if you come up to renew your contract,
he's not just saying I want to leave and I don't want to think about it.
Well, of course you would.
He's not saying I don't want to think about it.
What I'm saying is, any footballer is going to think about it. If someone offers you double your money potentially, but you've signed a 2-year contract with Spurs, you've got 2 years, you're going to have your head turned. That's just human nature. So he's going to want, and his agent's going to want the best for him. But the players usually, if they want to stay, they will say, "Listen, get me the best deal." They're not going to say, "Get me the best deal on less money." So it works in their favour. It's a win-win for him, because if he doesn't sign, he can potentially go for free anyway. But
is it 2 years or 1 year on his deal? Sorry to interrupt. Is it 2 years left?
He signed a 6-year contract, didn't he?
So I think it's 2 years left. I think it's 2 years left.
I think it's 2 years left. Okay.
So, and in that sense, he has holding all the cards. Of course, it's money time. But we're always talking about football.
If he doesn't get him now, it's not money.
Yeah, but we're talking about footballers like they're loyal to us. If I'm ever going to put a loyal player down, I would look at Son as being that player that maybe has that old essence of being loyal. However, the agents are not going to say, just because you love Spurs, we're not going to get you the best deal. Of course he's going to get the best deal. He's going to be up in there and around Kane sort of money, 200 grand a week. And who blames him? He's been player of the year 3 seasons in a row, as well as, you know, the fans player of the year. So what would you expect him to do? Say, okay, don't worry about it. I'll tell you the truth.
Okay, I get your point. I get your
players
point.
will get the best
2
of the
years
deal.
left on his contract.
You're basically saying he's taking all this time because he wants the higher money. Levy's saying, no, I can't give it to you. And he said, well, I'll wait then. I'll wait.
I don't know.
I'll wait. And
I'm
Son
not
is
on the
still
inside.
going up. I mean,
I'm not on the
look what he's
inside.
doing internationally right now.
What I can
He's
say,
knocking the goals in.
what I would say is, it's not. There's no reason to think that because he hasn't signed that's some really bad thing. What I'm saying is, if you're in negotiations with signing a new deal, you get the best deal you can. So if the club says, I don't want to pay you this, but your agent saying, well, I think you can get this, and you're holding aces, you will hold out. If the player says to his agent, I really want to stay, but get me the best deal, what do you think is going to happen? They're going to negotiate. That's what happens in negotiations. Doesn't mean to say we shouldn't get, he's going to go. But again, we've got 2 years on him. So even if he doesn't sign, we're still holding the cards in that sense. It's a win-win for everybody at this moment in time until we see what happens potentially next year if he didn't. Then you might be in a Pogba situation where he's just like, well, I can just sit here and do what I want. I don't think we're quite in that situation yet. But if I was a betting man, I don't believe Son is going anywhere this season.
29. In less than 2 weeks. No, in a week. He's 29.
There you go.
He's got a baby face, but he's no spring chicken. He's no spring chicken.
See, just to end this, I want to know your thoughts. What do you think we might need in the summer window?
Just going on Son, he's got contract till 2023, and I believe the reason that they didn't finalize his contract is because apparently we owed 170 million to the bank, which has been paid off, and now they're sitting down and finalizing the deal. So I agree with you, Sam. He ain't going nowhere. He's staying. He's fully committed to Tottenham. I discussed a couple of players the other day. Well, I discussed 6, and out of them 6, 3 of them were centre backs. So I'm assuming we definitely need a couple of centre backs. Kabak was one of them. Romero was the other one. Apparently, we're linked with Anderson again. Skriniar's come back on the radar again today, and apparently Paratici wants him at no ends costs. So I reckon him and Anderson, will come in. Midfielders, I agree again. Kessie's a good option. However, I've got a really strong feeling for Oliveira from Porto. I think he's on the radar. There's a few
Even
more
so now with the Portuguese connection.
Exactly.
Yeah, good shout.
Yeah. Striker. I mentioned the striker. He's one of the hottest properties in Europe at the moment. The one that plays for Vlahovic.
Oh yeah, Vlahovic. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, he's a youngster. Back up to Harry Kane.
Though.
Yeah, but who's going to come? The problem is, if Kane stays, who's going to come?
Well, this is the issue because we were heavily linked with Paxton Road, and obviously he's now gone to Leicester. His agent's main reason for not wanting to join Tottenham was because Harry Kane was still there. So I believe that this is why I keep veering towards this Son and Kane playing as a partnership up front, and then you could sort of invest that money into maybe a better winger. I've seen we're linked with Marcus Thuram. I think Marcus Thuram would be a great option. I think his physique and his size and his pace would fit quite well in the Premier League. I just think that it's a double-edged sword with Harry Kane, isn't it? I'm going
to ask a question before you finish, and you can answer this first, Darius. Do you think it's time to sell Harry Kane this summer? If a good offer came in, would you sell him?
This may be controversial, but I'm in agreement with the people that say to sell Harry Kane. I completely, don't get me wrong. If he was to stay, I would not be against. I would 100% not be against that. It's Harry Kane staying. But if Harry Kane was to go for £150 million, because I don't think we're going to really do anything else than that, 120 to 150 million pounds. I think you can probably reinvest that into 2 or 3 players that would maybe equivalent the goal output, if not maybe similar. And I just think that my point with Harry Kane is not the goal output, but it's the injuries that could potentially happen with Harry Kane. If Harry Kane gets one more big injury, I feel like his value could really slash in half. And I keep saying this in a lot of streams. I look at Eden Hazard as an example. Eden Hazard hadn't missed a game for Chelsea, or barely missed games for Chelsea. He goes to Real Madrid and he just completely capitulates and his body just gives up on him. I really feel that's coming soon with Kane in the next 3 seasons. I do think that his body is one injury away from it being quite destructive. So and it's a bad way of thinking about it. I know it is a bad way of thinking about it, but
120. That's
think-
low.
Yeah, but
Guys,
we're not.
Tommy,
it's low, Tommy. It's low,
Let me
Tommy,
come,
but-
Tommy. Let me
Go on,
have you
go
say.
on.
What's your thoughts?
120. That's the lowest I've heard. Straight, if it's a straight fee, 120. When we're hearing about all these Man City, the players they were chucking in. When I heard 100 mil plus Laporta, I was
true.
game. I was absolutely game for that.
Yeah.
But I just mentioned Son's 29 soon. Kane's 28, 29. As Darius rightly says, the injuries there. If we do go 2 up top, we're going to need 4 strikers. That's the problem. You need backup for every position. We're going to need 4 strikers. That's why I don't think Nuno's going to go. I don't think he's going to go 2
What
up
about
top.
Scarlett, Tommy?
That's the thing. That's the thing. How much faith do we have in Scarlett? How much faith? I loved him. I thought in the brief time he came on, in Wolfsburg, he had 10 minutes. He nicked the ball off a defender and got an assist. Ridiculous.
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant. But how much faith can you have in a 16, 17-year-old? It's so risky. Vinicius has gone back now. So, I'm sure Sid, you'll have plenty of strikers to talk about in the coming weeks. And I'd like to hear that because Vlahovic, 50 million pounds, that's not happening. Vlahovic 50 is not happening unless Harry Kane goes. There's no chance that's happening unless Harry Kane goes.
If we got an offer in the region of 150 mil, I'd sell Kane now. And it's not because I want Kane to go. It's because of what David just mentioned, the age of the player, the potential for him getting injured again, because he's had this injury for the last 3 seasons. What's to say, after all the exploits of last season, after all the exploits of this summer, in terms of playing for England, then straight back into pre-season, straight back into the season, I can see him having a time off. So I potentially would think, hold on, if we get the offer for that player in that I don't think 120, I wouldn't take that, but certainly 150 plus, I'm interested. I would be interested. Sorry, Mr.
Sam,
K,
let me
go
ask
ahead.
you a question. Sam, let me ask you a question. If you could pay 50 million pounds a year for 3 years to have someone like Kane in your team, would you pay it?
I don't understand the question. Say that again. If I could
150 million pounds.
Yes.
If you had him for 3 years, 50 million pound a year, would you pay 50 million pound a year to have Kane in your team right now?
So the provisos are that Kane remains the same level that he has been for the last.
He gets better. No, I think he gets better. I think he gets better.
I don't think he's going to get better. I don't think he's going to get better.
He's one injury. He's one injury away
I think
from
in the
his body.
3-4-3. Listen, in the 3-4-3, right? Yeah, you're asking about replacements for everyone, right? You're assuming there's 2 strikers. No, there doesn't need to be. If you play 3 up front, right? Yeah, there's actually 1 point of strike. And what sometimes that point of strike does is it drifts down into the midfield, pulling defenders out of position. These 2 on the right and the left, they cut in as inside forwards, right? Yeah. So there you go. So we've got plenty of inside forwards.
You have to look at how Liverpool plays. If you look at that, sorry, go on. I'll let you finish first.
Sorry, Levy may spend £8.5 million plus performance related in terms of goals scored and games played for Ings to come in for a season with a possible extension. Now, what that would mean is that you have a professional homegrown striker.
That's a good
he's homegrown, isn't he, Tommy?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Homegrown striker who could replace Kane, produce quality, doesn't need to play every single game, just need to play 1/5 of the games. Emergency backup as well. For £8.5 million plus incentives, I think they could go it. £15 million is too much. Levy's not going to pay that. But he will pay £8.5 million, and he'll say per goal, I'll give you, 200,000 per goal or something like that, right? Yeah. And if he plays X amount of games, then I'll give you that much for so-and-so. He'll package it like that. But for 1-2 seasons, Ings is look, we've done it with Dempsey.
Yeah.
We brought in.
So Mr. K, are you for Harry Kane leaving then? And
no, never.
Okay.
Never.
Okay. So going back to your point about the systems in terms of 3-5-2, 3-4-3. I look at if you're playing a 3-4-3 with 3 forwards, you don't necessarily, and I agree with you, don't necessarily have to have 3 strikers. You need 3 forwards. We have enough forwards in our team to be able to do that. You can still use Harry as a point in a 3-4-3. You can also use Harry in a 3-5-2 because if you play it right, you can play it 3-4-1-2, which means you can have Dele Alli playing in that, who then becomes that second striker, allowing Harry Kane to drop off. So you can play various ways. The over-reliance that we've had on Harry Kane has been apparent this season because of what he's done. We need somebody to also contribute. So this is where the manager has the ability to play a system that allows other players to get goals. More chance creation because of your wide wing backs. We're going to need wing backs in this system. So we can't just rely on Doherty and maybe Reguilon. We need to...
Sessegnon's coming back, isn't he?
Session's a good shout. That's where you're going to create. If you create chances, you're not over-reliant on one goal scorer. Because Harry Kane and Son basically did all them things together, we were over-reliant on them because our creativity came nowhere else. Get the creativity elsewhere. You don't need to have all them strikers. You just need to have people who are good at maybe finishing 5-10 goals a season. And I'm talking, if you look at Liverpool, they've got Salah who scores them 20 goals, but then you've also got Firmino who don't score that many goals, but you've got Mane who does score 15 goals or so. So it works because of chance creation. They put balls into the box with their wide fullbacks, and that's what they do. Chance creation, more chances, more goals. That's how it works, in my
Thinking
opinion.
about it, because I haven't had much time for this to digest. Nuno De Santo coming in. I don't want to. But I don't want to, I didn't want to throw all my eggs in one basket because, Fonseca looked like that deal was done. Conte looked like that deal was done. But Conte, it seems like Conte, if we got up top, we'll play a very similar system to Nuno now. He's always played with two strikers. It was Lukaku and Martinez last season. That's what their Scudetto championship was founded on. They were magnificent. And we have problems on the wing. Lamella's past it. Lucas, we can sell Lucas. Do you know what I mean? He's a workhorse, but we can lose Lucas. We can lose Lamella. And Bergwijn, I've said this for a long time. Bergwijn can double up as a wing back. I'm telling you now, a right wing back, he could double up as a wing back with Doherty there, proven under Nuno De Santo. And then Reggie left wing back, I should say, and then Sessegnon left wing back. It removes the wingers from the team. We've got Kane Son. And maybe the investment was going to make in a right winger. We can put towards a striker.
What about Traore?
Really thinking about it now. Do you know the Vlahovic thing? £50 million. It could happen. I'm pretty much going against myself from the last conversation. But as I said, it's bedding in. We've got Nuno De Santo now. It is bedding in. So the third
I think somebody commented on Andre Silva. He's part of George Mendes' agency. That's a good shout.
He's for Frankfurt, magnificent. I think he's good shout. He goes this season.
This is what I'm saying. With this Mendes link, I'm telling you now, I feel like we're gonna have a lot more. I think I can't remember who mentioned, but one of you guys mentioned obviously we're going to see a lot of Italian links, but I also think we're going to see a lot of guest food links, Mendes agency links as well, because 100%. It's easy to make those links, isn't it? And also there's a lot of quality there to choose from. It's just not allowing him to sort of dump all of his talent at Tottenham. That's going to be the main thing that I'm going to watch, because you can definitely take a lot of good players from Mendes' agency and you can build a very good team from it. But also you have to be careful that he doesn't just dump Fabio Silva's on you for 40 million just to develop him. Do you know what I mean? So it's a balance. And I personally, I'm not a Levy supporter, but I do think that Levy will veto any sort of buggy, odd move that he's going to try and make. Do you know what I mean? I don't think Levy's going to allow George Mendes to come in and basically take over the club, because George Mendes, he runs Wolves. Let's be honest. He does run that Wolves team basically. So I don't think that's going to happen, but we can definitely use his agency. I do believe in that.
Levy.
Is Alex Ray quoting Batman here?
I'm going to come to that.
Oh my God. I'm seeing that now.
He's a Batman's crying. Let's look at pre-season friendlies. Let me put this graphic up. Before I did this today, obviously this was not within the manager in mind. I thought we were going to go into this pre-season manager-less. However, these are the opening pre-season friendly fixtures. There probably will be more put in, but these are the ones that are known at present time. Leyton Orient versus Tottenham, not much to really say about that. MK Dons versus Tottenham again, just over nearly 2 weeks later. But then we go into this round robin tournament with Arsenal and Chelsea. Guys, what I would like to ask is, what are we expecting to see now that we have Nuno in place? Are we expecting to see a lot of experimental types of formations? Are we looking for him to play young? What are we expecting from a lot of these friendlies? Or is it a case of, friendlies don't really matter? What's your thoughts on this? Mr. K, what's your thoughts on this?
Basically, Nuno himself, I watched Will Stewart's show earlier in the day, and he went through some of the tactics that Nuno's been doing for different teams that he's been looking after for the number of years. And he's changed his tactic a few times from 4-4-2s to 4-2-3-1s, and he's been playing around with the 3-4-3. And there's different variations within the 3-4-3, where you have one in the midfield and you have two strikers, or you have all three of them coming up the top and harassing the back defensive line with the wingers coming in as well, and trying to get past them. So that's what I believe is going to be tactically done. We're going to have a 3-man back squad. We've got these young, talented, our own players that can come back like Sessegnon, like Skip, and they can populate the midfield. The 4 that we have in the midfield, we got 2 of them. They can come back and they can start supplementing the actual squad itself in terms of numbers, homegrown status, and so forth. We need that. So now it's time. If we're going to get 2 of them coming back, then that means that we got 2 homegrown players that we can get rid of. One of them being Winks.
3 Winks. Please.
Aston Villa, apparently
3
20 million. They've come in.
Right.
I've heard.
Right.
Don't sell him
Now,
in the
last
Premier League.
season-
We will regret it. Don't sell him in the
Yeah.
Premier League. Get him to
Now,
Spain. He can go to
last season,
Villa.
the
He can
mistake
go
they
to
made-
Villa. He can go to a Villa in Spain. He can go to a Villa in Spain. Don't sell him to Villa.
Listen, last season, they made the mistake of thinking that Rodon would come in and be one of the homegrown players. Unfortunately, because he's Welsh, and after a certain period of time when Wales had declared themselves differently from the FA, he no longer became homegrown. So he was classified as a foreign player, right? So having 2 of them come back is going to help the squad immensely, especially with Rose having gone. That was another homegrown player. So this is kind of important that we do have homegrown players. That's fundamentally important because it's very expensive to get them nowadays.
Okay, agree.
Well,
You know,
Ben White's
because
for
it's
50 million.
Aaron,
It's a good point,
it's like
But there was a
this is going to
premium on
happen.
them.
But 3-4-3 variations at the top. Now I know in the 3-4-3 sometimes the strike position wanders down into the midfield, and Kane loves to do that.
You know what? I don't
4-3.
want to get. I really, and I've said this before. I don't think we should get hung up on systems per se. And when you're rigid in a system, again, good managers will work that out. You need to
Nuno
have
can change.
flexibility. You have
He's
to
got
have
experience.
and flexibility from a 3-4-3 to a 3-5-2 isn't really that flexible, to be honest, because all
This
you
is the
need to
problem.
do is. So again, I want to see in these. This is what I'm saying. Pre-season friendly for me is about showing me how you can tactically change within a game, and you can also because if you lose certain players, right? You imagine lose 2 centre backs out of your centre backs you got, you might have to go to a back 4 because you haven't got enough centre backs who can cover. You have to have the flexibility.
This is where
Pre-season,
it's a
apart from
big problem with Nuno. I don't want to
100%.
interrupt you. Big problem. He tried to change it at the start of last season because
Agreed.
they were known for their work
choice.
rate. I had a couple of fans on a preview show in Wolves. I had a couple of fans, and I was gobsmacked that so 2 of them have a show. One of them was Nuno out, and this was 6 games before the end of the season. This before he had Wolves, so this was the protest weekend. He was saying, yeah, we want him out, terrorist football. The other guy wasn't so keen on it, but he was saying that even the guy that wanted Nuno to stay was like 80% of the fan base want him gone because he couldn't change to a 4 at the back. There was no way. There were specific players that didn't work there either, like Connor Cody. Connor Cody doesn't work in a 3. That's what they were saying. Absolutely hopeless. Outstanding in a 3, but doesn't work in a 2. So what Mr. K says, I sort of agree with to a certain extent. It's just going to be a difference on a 3 at the back.
I think
with Nuno,
Tommy,
because as soon as
the
he
thing
started
is-
to change, there were big problems.
Tommy, the thing is this, right? Yeah, is that Nuno started off his first formation when he first started off as a coach was a 4-4-2. That's a defensive. It's very defensive. Okay, so
again,
that's
no,
the
it's not. I'll disagree. I'll disagree.
It
depends.
4-4-2 is
It
nowhere.
depends.
It's not defensive. You have to have
well, the thing is, if you look at it, if you look at a
It's rigid.
4-2-3-1,
It's
if
rigid.
you look at a 4, what I'm saying is, if you look at a
rigid.
4-2-3-1, a 4-2-3-1 when it goes into defensive mode becomes a 4-4-2.
No, you should have. Again, I'm
It
going
swings around like
by coaching because I have got coaching.
Yeah, I know,
badges.
but I've looked at it according to what I've seen according to
No,
the
no,
pitch.
that's fine. So when
I
you
saw
say
Mourinho do that.
when you
I
say
saw Jose do that
4-4-2
many times.
when you say 4-4-2 is defensive, that's completely wrong. 4-4-2
I'm saying that you can
is
use it
about
as
when you in your transition about when you have the ball and when you don't have the ball. That's how you look at teams. There's three phases in football: when you're attacking, when you're defending, and a transition. So what you usually have is you go from a 4-4-2. If you get your your wide midfielders forward, it becomes a 4-2-4, so that it can be very attacking. When you don't have the ball, you could then drop into a 4-4-1-2, or you could drop into a 4-5-1 because your
create a diamond as
formation and you change according to what's happening on the ball.
Overstated.
So,
in general.
It's true.
Formations
It is
are
true.
just on paper. The game never looks like that
The kickoff.
on the pitch.
The only
100%.
time a team is in the shape is in the kickoff. A 4-4-2 is at the kickoff. That's the only time, really.
And if you play in a sort of style like Jose as well, where you're sort of in rigid lines as well, I think you can see
you'll
certain lines of defense. I agree with that, but again,
when you
formations are high.
When you set up, sorry, Darius, when you set up as a 4-4-2, you don't have to stay in there. Again, players. No. If you're in a 2, you can change that into a diamond very easily. So it becomes angles. You need to create angles. When you have straight lines, it's very difficult to penetrate. So players, when in a system, are told, right, this is what we do when we attack. How you get the ball is by creating them angles, creating passing options. So regardless of what system it is how the players react. That comes from the manager's tactical ability, which is I'm unsure about it. So I'll go to Sid on this next one. What do you think the aim for pre-season should be?
Right, so we start pre-season on Monday. I think he's coming at the right time because all the players will be coming back on Monday. First thing he needs to do, obviously, is get the players that he's got, and he's going to have a lot of players, apart from like the Kanes and whoever else is in the Euros. A lot of them are going to be back. So he can now start with what he's got, get them all in shape. He can start. Kane's not there, so he can start experimenting to see what options he's got up front, what others we can do without Kane. Let's play a system. Leighton Orient game, first one, he can try it there. All right, it's Leighton Orient, but it's something for him to experiment on. And he can then obviously judge the fitness of some of the players that we've got, who he needs to get rid of. Because some of them players that he's going to have on Monday, they're not going to be in his system. He's probably just going to, I've got nobody else at pre-season. Let's get them in, get them fit so I can sell them on because they're still in tip-top shape. But the Orient game, MK Dons game, experiment with a few players on what formation, where do you want to play them, what's your best positions. Then you've got Chelsea and Arsenal. It's a mini tournament, but that tournament is going to be serious because straight after Chelsea, Arsenal, we've got Man City. So them 2 games is where he's going to have to proper sit down and say, right, the first 2 games I've experimented. This is where now I need to get my team sorted, get ready, get set for the goal game against Man City.
I'll be honest with you, the best time to play Man City is the first game of the season. If I'm really brutally honest, it's the best time to play.
Sam, as a coach, Sam, as a coach, right, tactically speaking, right, you're talking about passing lanes. When you look at a basic 4-4-2, there are simple passing lanes which can be done. But when it comes to a 3-4-3, you have more passing lanes. Now, the thing is, traditionally speaking in football, right, you normally have pairings of players, right, that are at different parts of the pitch. They're pairings. They go well together, like the centre-back pairing and so forth. There's other pairings that can happen as well, front and back, mid, the wingers, for example, and the fullbacks. When it comes to when it comes to 3-4-3, it doesn't become pairings; it becomes triplets. There's 3 of them, right? That's where the 3-4-3 overcomes some of the formations out there because they go into a 3-way passing. So you have 3 people practicing passing with each other. You no longer have pairings; you have triplets.
Triangles.
Right? Okay.
So when you have such a good point. It's a good point about that,
and that takes the pressure off you. So if you're being pressed, it takes the pressure off you. Now, in the Premier League, a lot of teams are pressing. Spurs traditionally tremble a little bit. With Nuno coming in, if he implements this system, it may give the boys an opportunity, give them an outs that they wouldn't normally have.
One extra player to pass to.
Exactly. But they have to know how to move, though.
If
you understand?
And you're right. That's the point what you just made at the end is the main point. Because a 3-4-3 becomes a 5... What is it? 5
defense or 5 attack.
Yeah, 5-2-1-3, won't it?
So again, the transition from defense, if you're playing with 5 at the back, means that you have to have a lot of energy to then join players going up front. So you have to be possession based, in my opinion, to make the 3-4-3 work really well. If you have 5 at the back most of the time, it becomes more of a counter-attacking game, and then you need players who are athletic enough to join in attack with the players ahead of you. It can be very good, don't get me wrong, but you still need to have a little bit of flexibility to say, right, okay, if we are going to have this flat 5, and against City, you might not dominate the ball. So you have to find other ways to get out of that transition from defense to attack. That might be a counter-attacking system. I don't know. I don't know how well Nuno plays that counter-attack because I didn't watch Wolves enough. However, what Tommy was saying, though, when he tried to implement a 4, it didn't seem to work, and he went back to what he knew. And even then, he didn't have the best of seasons. So for me, pre-season is about, I'm going to try this with the players I've got, looking at what I've got, seeing how these players play in that system, because they may not even adapt to a 3-4-3 role. I don't know.
No, we played 3 at the back though, and we
We
played 4
have,
at the back.
but have we played very well?
Under
I don't know.
Under Poch, we played both.
No, we've
Talking
not
about
played centre back.
experimenting.
Go on.
Talking about experimenting, this 7th place finish might be a blessing in disguise, because we're going to experiment. We're going to experiment there as well. We've got a good youth. We've got really good youth players coming through. And I said this a few times this week. We're coming into the time where Chelsea started bearing fruit. Before the Hudson-Odois and the Mounts, they produced nobody since John Terry, 1998.
Well, they would, but they'd sell them, wouldn't they? They wouldn't even give them a chance,
Yeah.
would they?
Exactly, it'd be the Bertrands, and they'd have 3 or 4 games. After Terry, it was Carlton Cole. I think he had 25 games up until about 2013, 2014. They're bearing fruit now because Cobham was built in 2007. Their training facilities, Hotspur Way 2012. We're bearing fruit now. The last 4 or 5 years, crazy. Reece James, Mason Mount, Tammy Abraham. The list goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
Gilmore, he's just gone out on loan to Norwich. That's good for us.
He's gone to Norwich.
He's gone out on loan. That means Skip's almost certainly going to stay now, or he goes to a better Premier League club on loan. So that could be good for if we use him properly. That is. So we could be bearing fruit now in the next few seasons, and that could be so good in the Conference League to give their
youngsters
chance, to give the Skips their chance.
I want to come first because sorry, Tom. I think the UECL, as it's probably going to be, is probably going to have an influence on the pre-season, because doesn't that start very early? I don't know, because I haven't been able to see when, because I haven't actually got them up. So that was going to play somewhere in between these. We're going to probably have maybe 1, maybe 2 of these UECL games. How do you think, Darius, that might then influence what he does? It should give us some more options to be able to play different formations. So I'm hoping that they use the UECL. I'm not going to call it UCL. As a almost like part of your preseason to help with some of the players, to help with some of these youngsters. Give them a chance, give them an opportunity to play in a semi-competitive game to see how they do, to see how these guys perform. Do you think that's natural, though?
I think that's natural. I think Nuno's going to come in. He's going to think, in his mind, he's going to think, right, I've got to create my own team. I've got to see what players I've got. And he's going to be looking at the youth as well, the ones which are knocking on the door, which are out on loan this season, last season. He's going to be looking at them and saying, how can I make the team? Because it's got to be my team. The faster I can get people to do what I want them to do, the better it is for me, right? So getting a couple of the youngsters on board makes the fans happy, makes the board happy. It endears the players to him. They're going to run through brick walls for him if they're successful, right? And it tells the other players, buck up.
Because your place can be
taken. You're getting old. So watch your wrinkles.
It starts on the 8th of July, by the way.
Yeah, 8th to 15th it starts.
So, how do you think that would influence him in terms of players playing?
Is that just in general, all players playing? Or I think specifically youth players?
With the UECL, that's going to have, an opportunity to play, as I said, semi-competitive games within a structure of a friendly type situation before we get to the Man Cities and all the rest of it, which we'll look at.
Yeah, in all honesty, I think that Conference League is a great opportunity to develop talent, but also it's an opportunity to sort of test things that you might not want to test in a Premier League game or maybe even in a cup game, because I think that Nuno probably has a good chance of potentially winning a Carabao Cup or maybe even an FA Cup if he wants to try that. In the Conference League, you kind of have a free hit. Yes, we should probably go out and try and win it. But at the same time, if you can, like we've said, bleed some youth into that team, maybe play a 4 at the back and see if it works. Try different systems in that thing. I don't think the opposition is going to be good enough to sort of beat you because you've changed your system. So I think that's a perfect place to sort of try out things and then implement those things that work into your Premier League games and into your cup games. Because really and truly, for Tottenham Hotspur, this might be just for Tottenham Hotspur, but for especially the clubs that can't really see Tottenham winning the Premier League anytime soon, these Carabao and FA Cups for me are just as important as Premier League games now. It's clear to me that a trophy is what we need. So I don't really want to see this experiment in this sort of playing a completely different team in the FA Cup. I want to see us really go for the cup competitions next year. So it leaves that Conference League to be the league that you can, or the competition that you can experiment, you can try youth players. Because at the end of the day, if we win it, we win it. People aren't going to care in terms of opposition fans and whatever. But if we don't win it, I don't think people will care either, because it's a conference league. It's not got any sort of substance to it at the moment. So it's a perfect place to experiment, in my opinion. Perfect place.
Sid, they usually say that pre-season friendly results don't matter. In our situation, given the new manager, do you think it's going to play a part if, let's say, we go into that mini tournament and we get beaten heavily by the likes of Chelsea and Arsenal? What do you think would be necessarily good results for us from pre-season?
Obviously, I think Leyton Orient and MK Dons, they should win them comfortably. Arsenal and Chelsea are going to be the difficult games, but as a new manager, I'm not expecting him to go in there and smash Arsenal and smash Chelsea straight away, because he's going to be, like we all saying, he's going to be experimenting. He's going to have players playing different positions. For me, the first game against Man City is where he has to be ready, guns firing. If we lose against Arsenal, if we lose against Chelsea, I'm not bothered. If they put in a performance, he tweaks the system, and we've played decent football and we've lost, I'm not bothered. Like Man City is the one where he has to be up and ready. Even the Man City game, I don't think a lot of Spurs fans are expecting anything. I think everyone's already written that off. But like you said, Sam, there's no better time to play Man City than the first game of the season. And you know what? Anything can be possible in that first game, but it's too early for us to start judging him after the first pre-season games, even the Arsenal. You've got to give him time. I don't think anyone can go into a club and start winning all them games straight away. You have to give him time. I mean, when I mean time, I don't mean a full season or 6 months. It's got to be within the first month or two. It's got to be some sort of progression. We've got to see some kind of decent football. And the most important thing for me is he's got to get them fans behind, because at the moment where all the fans are not happy. So just play some decent football for the first 4 or 5 games pre-season. Results don't matter. It's the performance.
Yeah,
Tommy?
and also that's a great. Sorry to interrupt you. It's a great point. He literally said in a little clip on Twitter, he said, "We want to make you proud." That was his main thing that he said. He's like, "We want to make you proud, the fans." So he's saying the right things already. He's saying the right things already.
Tommy, does pre-season matter in terms of results, or is it all about getting the players fit and seeing how we're going to transfer that into the season ahead?
It is important. It was quite quite surprising to see there's only a 4-day gap between the Chelsea and Arsenal game. Obviously, it'll be a completely different team for both games, or well, it better be. One of the things that this new manager has to do, Nuno, or whoever it was going to be, they need to rest Kane. They need to rest Kane. Doesn't matter how much he wants to play. It was 20%. I don't even think it was 20% in that Carabao Cup final, and that hurt us for the next 3 or 4 games. I don't think he scored for 2 games after that. He probably hasn't been fit in the Euros, to be honest with you. But so you need to put him in his place. You need to put Harry Kane in his place. So it's all about performances. But we shouldn't go into the Man City game and say, we can't win that game. Absolutely, we can win that game. We beat him 2-0. We beat him 2-0 last season under Jose, and we done a job on them. Our recent record against Man City is fantastic. So it's important. It's so key. I just want to say, Nuno De Santo is so fortunate to have this job. He is.
He's laughing.
He effectively got sacked from Wolves. I don't care what anybody tells me. Same with Fonseca. If they don't renew your contract, they're not impressed with your job.
You got sacked, didn't you, mate?
Exactly. You're fired.
He got sacked. Let's not get it twisted.
They both said, they both turned around and said, nah. Simple as that.
He's got time to experiment. Darius just confirmed it. We've got time to experiment in the Conference League as well. If he gets into the top 4 with us this season, it's going to be like, oh, you've done an unbelievable job. He should be getting to the top 4 with Spurs. So everything's a bonus.
If you look at their last season, but Tommy, if you look at their last season, right? Yeah, I mean, there was a few things that happened to Nuno's team. There was progression in the team that needed to be done. There needs to be some investment coming in that he probably wanted that didn't happen. And everything's on his shoulders. He's been asked to make a few changes that he can't be successful because he doesn't have the players to do it. He can't bring in the players. He's going to be frustrated. By the end of the season, they've done terribly. They started off well, and then they kind of completely went off the cliff. So the way I look at it is that with a better squad, which we have, let's face it, our squad is better than Wolves, right?
Of course.
The points proved it anyway. So I think he'll have a better go with our team. Plus, the few little peanuts that he wanted on that side, he might be able to get a little bit more with Paratici.
Agreed. That might, and I think you're right on that, Mr. K. I think we have got a better squad on paper. We have got players who I think are adaptable. I think they are adaptable. I just don't know whether some of them are good enough. That's maybe the main thing. Right, the last point. We've gone a little bit over time, but we're going to do this anyway. Okay, first 6 Premier League fixtures, and we have these. We've already talked about Man City. So the first game, and let me take off the banner at the bottom so we can all see these fixtures. Okay, first game of the season, Manchester City at home. I think it's a great time to play Manchester City, not because I think they're a weak team. I just think get them early with all the players that they've got away, potentially having travelled and done all the Euros, etc., etc. It's a good time to play them. Then we have Wolves, interestingly. Our first 3 games are on a Sunday, because in the following game after that is Watford at home. Then we go into the London era. Crystal Palace, followed by Chelsea, followed by Arsenal. Guys, Tommy, what's I'm not going to say how many points you think we should get from that, but are you expecting us to have a good start to the season, given that as our start of the season?
Why not? Absolutely, why not? I
100.
think Tuchel's Chelsea are going to struggle. I think it was a massive bounce last season. I think Tuchel's Chelsea is going to struggle. So I can see us getting 3 points there. Arsenal are losing their players, their youth players that look like they're going to be world class in future seasons to Villa. Now, you know what I'm saying? They're in big trouble. They're in big trouble. And as you rightly said, Sam, you know, Man City are there for the taking. First game of the season, we've got a good record against them.
Tommy's throwing shade at Arsenal early doors, man.
Mate, they're horrible. They're horrible. If they get into the top 10 this season, they've done all right. Do you know what I'm saying? They're problems. They're deep problems there. But yeah, I have quite a few Arsenal fans that come on my stream. I do a lot of neutral streams. I have a hell of a lot of Arsenal fans that come on my stream. So yeah, they'll be cutting me flat.
For some reason, I've turned up to the Armory on occasion. I've been going to the Armory because of Sam.
Do you know what? Not even that. The West Ham fans are the worst. The West Ham fans are the worst.
1 5th place finish, and they think they're flipping top 6 now, don't they?
You lot
they think they're a big club because they finished 6th in 1995 under Harry Redknapp until last season.
They won the World Cup in 1966, apparently.
I'm not trying to run this bandwagon.
Exactly.
West Ham fans, Arsenal fans.
I think you're wrong.
It's not me. It's them. It's them. I'm not throwing shade like that.
Tommy, I think we're going to beat Man City 4-1, and we're going to go to Wolves, right? Yeah. No, we're going to beat them because the first game, we're going to catch Man City before they get a chance to do anything. 4-1. We're going to go to Wolverhampton, and that's going to be Nuno coming back to his old club saying, "Who's the daddy? Look at my squad now." Right? We're going to rip them apart. That's going to be 2-1.
Jesus Christ.
Right? 2-1.
These games
we're then going to go to Watford, a newly promoted side, right? And we're going to draw. We're going to draw 2-all. We're going to draw 2-all. We're going to be winning 2-0, and they're going to score 2 goals in the lastminute.com. And Nuno is going to say, the players are going to say to Nuno, "Welcome to Spurs, Nuno." And now he's going to think twice when he goes to Crystal Palace, which we might lose.
It's going to be interesting. Vieira as well.
And that's when he's going to go, and we're going to get to Arsenal. We're going to get whooped at Chelsea, right? 3-1. We're going to get to Arsenal, and this is the time when Nuno, because he's going to have all the pressure from the fan base now on his neck, right? And he's going to, now this is when he's going to pull it out. Arsenal, if he pulls it out with Arsenal, he'll endear the fans to himself.
He will.
I'm not a betting man. I'm but I'm going to put an outright bet on before the season starts that Arsenal are finishing in the bottom 10. I'm not even joking. They're finishing in the bottom 10. Convinced.
I'm going to say, as my friend Deji would say, this is not financial advice, but I'm not quite sure we're going to smash Man City 4-1 at the beginning of the season. I wouldn't put a bet on that one, personally.
6-1 against Man U.
Darius, those first 6 games, what do you think we should be getting out of that?
Oof. I'm a little bit nervous. I can't lie. I'm a little bit nervous about those upcoming fixtures. But Man City, I agree 100% with you, Sam. Best time to play them. First game of the season. If not, I think all of their players are probably on international duty and will probably go quite far in the competitions as well. I don't think we have too many players who are on international duty that I can think of off the top of my head. So all these things are important factors. I think if we don't get a result against City, Wolves, Palace, Watford, I think we have to get 3 wins, and then I can compensate maybe not getting results in the Chelsea and Arsenal game. However, for Nuno's sake, if he gets a good result against Arsenal and Chelsea, I think that will give him so much more of leeway for, like, maybe, let's say, the next 3-4 months of the season to kind of do more what he wants as opposed to what the fans want. Because I believe a lot of the fans want to see attacking football. And I think a lot of the fans are going to hold Daniel Levy and Nuno to that. And I think a lot of fans will maybe even sacrifice the position that we finished to sort of see that football because of what Jose is sort of given to us the past 18 months. So I think if Nuno gets a result against Chelsea and Arsenal, people won't care how he plays. I think if it gets a bit rocky at the start of the season and he's sort of not playing sort of gung-ho football, I think people could start to get a little bit antsy, because I really do believe the style of football that we play is on a lot of fans' mind, in my opinion. I think it's not necessarily coming first for a lot of people. For me, it's second. I think obviously results is always first, but I do think it's going to have much more of an impact on him than it did Mourinho, because people will just assume that Mourinho is going to play bad football. So yeah, I think that if he can get a result against Chelsea and Arsenal, he can set himself up to kind of do what he wants. If not, he's going to might have to play more attacking football to sort of appease the fans.
Sid, I'll come to you next. Before I come to you, Mr. K, do you think he needs to, let's say, I don't know, which of the important games do you think he needs to get the results? Because obviously we all know about the Arsenal and Chelsea rivalry. That's a given. They're always going to be tough games, but I would hope the players would be up for them anyway. But realistically, what do you want to see out of the first 6 results? In terms, give me a what you think in terms of points. Then. Go on, give me some point scores.
All right, so I think City game, first game of the season, I think if we're all allowed back into the ground, it's going to be mad atmosphere. There's going to be a lot of disgruntled Tottenham fans, but new manager, everything's going to come in. I think, like what Darius and you guys are saying, City are going to be the best time to play them. I can't see us winning that game, to be honest. I think we'll get a draw. For me, the most important games are the next 3, and I agree with Darius. Wolves, Watford, Palace, we have to get 3-3-3. So that's, for 100%. Me, 100% 3-3-3-9. That's 9 points, so that's 10 points already. Chelsea game, it's always hard. Arsenal is always hard. It's a battle. It's a war. It's not a game. It's war. Chelsea. It's war. Arsenal. Arsenal. We always beat Arsenal when it comes to the punch. Yeah.
Apart from theirs last season. Yeah.
Apart from theirs, but when the push comes to the shove, I think they'll turn up for Arsenal. Chelsea for me is the sticky one. It just depends on what Chelsea turns up, which Tottenham turns up, and all this Eric Dyer business and all that stuff comes into it. How they stopped us from getting into the Champions League and the 5th position and that. So for me, out of all them, I think Chelsea is going to be the trickiest game. But yeah, I'd say at least 10 points first 4 games, and then the next 2 games maybe a draw. I think maximum I can assume is 2 points. I can't see it, but 2 points from the next 2. So 10 points, 11, 12 points, I'm saying. 10,
11, possibly 12 points out of 18. Mr. K, you're the final one on this. Tell me about the games then. What points do you think we're going to get from these first 6 games, potentially?
6 games, 9 Tottenham. We're going to win 3, draw 2, lose 1. If we're lucky.
11.
That's not bad. I wouldn't be against that, Mr. K.
I'm not against that at all, Mr. K.
It's either 2 losses or 2 draws, but decide either way, it's going to flip. Depending upon how it goes, the character of the team will show whether or not we have 2 losses or 2 draws. Now, if we get 2 draws, we'll end up with 11 points.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do, because I like this. Tommy, I'm going to come to you, right? So we're going to play a little game here. How many points out of 18 do you think we're going to get at the start of the season? I'm going to write them down so I can come back to you at a later date. Tommy,
chuck the fixtures up again, please.
I will do that for you. That is not a problem. There you go.
I said we could beat Man City. I reckon it'll be a draw. I've got a funny feeling Wolves will be a draw. 2, we'll beat Watford. 5, Palace. We'll beat Palace. Vieira's going to be sacked within the first 6 weeks.
Facts. I agree with you.
He's a horrible. He done all right in Nice, but no.
Did he even?
Hey, he done against Nice at the end of the day, you know. It's Nice. So
far 6. You've got 1, 2,
I think we'll
8.
beat Chelsea. I think we'll beat Chelsea. I think we'll beat. I think 12 points. I'm saying 12 points. We'll beat Chelsea. We draw against
Damn,
Arsenal.
that's high points.
I think we'll beat Chelsea.
So Darius, you're next then, because Sid has already said we're gonna have about what 12 points? Did you say, Sid? Is that
I did 12 points, yeah.
Okay, so 12 out of 18 so far from two of you. Darius, what are you saying?
All right then, let me do what Tommy did because that's actually a little good shot. So City, I don't see us beating City. I also don't see us even getting a result against City. So I'm gonna have to put a big fat L at the start. But I think that people won't mind because it's Man City. Wolves win, in my opinion. Watford win. Crystal Palace win. I don't even see any other results because then it gives us a bit of leniency for the Chelsea and Arsenal game. I'm a bit of a Tuchel fanboy, so I'm going to say that Chelsea beat us, and I really do think we'll beat Arsenal. And I'm not even saying that. I think it will be quite not comfortable, but I think we'll really show them like we're meaning serious business. Because like I said, if Nuno can get a W in that game, I think it doesn't really matter what the results of the last few games were. Like I said, if we were to not beat Watford, Wolves, and Crystal Palace, if we were to beat Arsenal and Chelsea, nobody would remember those first three results. I'm telling you that now. So I'm going to say, I'm just thinking of what I just said now. 3, 6, 9, 12. I'm actually saying 12, which is crazy.
You're saying, wow, the first
I think it's 4 wins, 2 losses as opposed to draw. I think it's 4 wins, 2 losses.
Damn, Mr. K, go on then. What's your
I've already
thoughts
given
on
you my results, isn't it?
how many points though? How many points was
11.
that? I can't remember.
11.
Yeah.
damn.
Wow,
3
we're actually
wins, 2
really
draws.
confident, aren't we?
You lot are positive. I'm putting these fixtures back up again so I can just have a quick look. All right, I'm saying a draw against City.
Okay.
We'll take a point on the first day. Then I'm saying the next 3 games. I think those are the 3 games that we have to win.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at them on paper, and I think we should. Crystal Palace, like you said, Tommy, with Patrick, I don't know what we're going to get. Watford, they'll be up for it, but again, we should beat them. Wolves, I think we'll go there and take points off them. So the first 4 games, I'm seeing 10 points. I don't think there's 2 draws after that. So, that's 12 points as well. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we're actually...
Wowzers.
Sam, can I just throw one in?
Mad. Yeah, go on.
Go on. My boy's just come into the room, yeah? And
Yeah.
his predictions, right? Can you write it down? We're going to win City. We're going to win Palace. We're going to win Watford. We're going to beat Wolves. We're going to lose to Chelsea. And we're
Is
going
he
to
old
beat
enough
Arsenal.
to drink? Sid, is he old enough to
15?
drink? Because it
Is that
sounds like
15?
he's on the sauce.
He's
on
14
the
years
sauce.
old. He's
He's not allowed
14
to
years
drink.
old.
So stop letting him drink. I'm going to say this out there. People, we do not advocate giving alcohol to 14-year-olds because he's on the pot. Wow.
He's on the Sprite.
15 out. He said we're going to lose only to Chelsea out of the first 6 games.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm
points-
here
how
for
many
it.
points
I'm
is
here
that?
for
How
it.
many points is that?
15.
15.
Tuchel's going to struggle.
From Little Sid.
Tuchel's going to
That's what we're
struggle
gonna
like
call
Di
it.
Matteo.
Little Sid. Yeah.
Okay, so we've
I
got...
think Toodle's going to go. I think Toodle's going to go for the... No, Toodle's going to go for the... He's going to go for the league.
We've got
He's gonna
Lionel
go for
Messi.
the
here.
league.
We've
Tuchel's
got
gonna
Lionel
struggle.
Messi. What
Oh,
we've got-
shout out
Lionel
Messi.
saying
Shout out
12.
Messi.
Shout out
Shout out
Messi.
Messi.
Thank you for watching.
You're
Messi.
doing
You're doing bits in
Appreciate
Copa
that.
America. You're doing bits.
We appreciate you for watching. And he's saying 12 points for us, so I'm going with that. I'm going with 12
A lot
points.
of us got 12 points, haven't we?
What are you geezers smoking? I
It's
don't
been
know.
72 days, my friend. It's been 72 days.
8 points. Come on.
This is like Eurovision
on.
Song Contest, isn't it?
No, 8 points. Listen, I can understand if we were last year, the middle of last season, say we started from January or something, 8 points sounds reasonable, the type of season we had last year. But for some reason, we got an optimism. And I think that's the Spursy way. I mean, Spurs way.
Yeah,
Oh, the
you have
hope.
to.
It's the hope, isn't it?
The hope always kills.
The
But I
kills you.
yeah. Well, we've got 11, 12, 12, 12, and Sid's boy 15. Again.
Have I got the
Don't
lowest? Have I got the lowest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somehow,
Right,
Mr. Case.
I thought I
Somehow.
was the optimistic one.
That's what I'm thinking.
I
That's what I'm
thought
thinking.
so.
What's going on? What's going on?
Listen, gentlemen, it's been fabulous. We'll have to do this again. We'll have to obviously do something where we talk about our new manager, Mr. Nuno Espirito Santo. And that's one good thing, as I've said before, because he's been in the press so much, I've actually got his name right. I was calling him all kinds before. But are we going to call him Nez? Are we going to call him
Snez.
Nuno? Is it Nez?
The spirit of the Sand Socks.
Snez. Spurs Nuno Espirito Santos. Snez.
And And Ed Warderson has just brought us all back down to earth. Way too early to predict anything. And that's how we end the
It's still
show
here, and Dyer's
with
not
a-
going anywhere.
with a bang like that. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Tommy, tell us where we can find you. Tommy Talks Ball.
Yes, man. The first time in 3 weeks, someone's not gone plural. Someone hasn't gone plural. So yeah,
Talks
Tommy
balls.
Talks Ball. I changed it from Spurs on TV because I do quite a lot of neutral stuff. Especially over the Euros, especially over the next week or so. We haven't even mentioned England. Come on, England. Free line.
Yeah, that's
Let's do
shout out
this.
England. Shout out England.
Let's
Shout
do
out,
this.
Proper balls.
So yeah, I'll probably be doing a preview for that Friday because that's huge. That's absolutely huge, and we need to win that. We need to keep Kane satisfied. I think that will, get the Euros in the trophy cabinet. That'd be fantastic. So yeah, head over to Tommy Talks Ball, sub away, look at my previous videos, chuck some likes on there. But first of all, smash that like on this channel and like this stream. And the thing is, comment. If you're watching the recorded version, you've got to get commenting away. It helps everyone's channel grow. So yeah, do that.
Thank you very much.
Big up,
Mr.
Tommy.
K, I'm going to give you a shout out for Juicens as well. So you tell everybody where they can find you.
Guys, in case you're wondering why I was a bit scrowly earlier, because I've done my elbow in. Lifting up some heavy little bits and pieces. But yeah, guys, you can find me. Well, first of all, if you're watching this right now, why haven't you subscribed if you're not subscribed already? And why are you not pressing that like if you're not liking it already? Do that right now. If you want to find me, there's a channel called Will Stewart's THFC Rants channel, and I host a show on Tuesday nights called Three Wise Men. Sometimes I'm here as well.
Lionel Messi even said it's a great show. Lionel, I'm telling you, you're fabulous. I'm not
I've
sure
got
if you're better than
I've got
Cristiano.
Messi
I've got a little
complimenting
bit
me.
of that.
Nah, man. Messi's the
I'm
guy.
available,
After this,
man.
after that comment, after that comment, Messi's the guy, man.
Ronaldo all day. Ronaldo
That's
all
a
day.
different. That's a different. That's a
Messi's the
different
goat
video.
of goats.
Different video. We
Him
could
and
be here for
Ramos
another
are
hour.
available. Him and Ramos are available.
I'm telling you, Cristiano 7 CR7. I'm telling you.
Well, let's do. I'm not even going to let you, Darius and Sid, have any shouts out because you're all here all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, you will.
Oh,
you'll
Sid's
see
got a
me-
channel. No, Sid's
No,
got some shorts.
you will see me and Sid on Sid Says. That's what we are
Says.
going to shout
All
out.
right,
You will
yeah,
see me and Sid on
All
Sid
right,
Says.
shout it
Sid
out.
says.
Go on then, shout
Sid
it
says.
out, both of you. Sid
Yeah,
says.
so
Go on.
Put it in
join
the chat.
us.
Put it in the chat.
I will do. Join us. Me and Darius will be talking all transfers and the latest players to be linked. We've mentioned a few of them, but watch this space because me and Darius are going to have a field day with some.
We're taking over. We're
interesting-
taking over. Paxton
telling
Road,
you.
me and Sid. No
Yeah.
more Sam Spurs for
I'll
life.
be
guys.
tuning in. I want to see
Exactly. Don't worry.
strikers. I'll be
Yep.
tuning in. I want to see
It's there, mate. Strikers, we're going.
We've
We're on
got
it.
you
We're on
covered.
it.
We've got you covered. We've got
Yeah.
you covered.
I'm telling you
We've
now.
got this. So look out for that. Once again, please, if you're watching live, press that like button now. If everybody hits that like button that's watching, we'll have loads of likes. And if you're watching off this at a later time, please also smash that like, leave comments. It all helps, and we will respond to everything where possible. Guys, it's been amazing. I've liked it. The fact that we are buzzing is because we've got a new manager.
No.
Nuno it is. Thank you very much for watching, guys. See you later. Take care. We're out.